Okay, good evening. I am so thrilled tonight to have with us two of my favorite young adult pastors, two of the leading voices of this generation, two individuals that I respect highly and I'm also blessed to call friends in the person of the Reverend Dr. Bri Parker, who is doing so many phenomenal things across the nation right now as it relates to Black millennials, but not only Black millennials. Right now, Reverend Bri is pulling the Black church into the future. And so we appreciate her for not only her expertise as it relates to ministering to Black millennials, not only to her expertise as it relates to ensuring that the Black church is able to incorporate technology into its functions, not only to her ability to talk sense into Black church pastors and make sure that we're not stuck in the dark ages, but she's an incredible person and an incredible friend, and I'm glad to have her tonight.
Thank you. And thank you for having me.
Certainly, certainly. Also, we have one of, I tell you, the most prolific pastors that Louisville, Kentucky has ever seen. If you've heard the Reverend Timothy Finley preach, you know what it is for words to be on fire. Not only has he started an incredible church, and so I was blessed, and I've got to say this, I was blessed to preach the first anniversary of Kingdom Fellowship. Can you believe that? 11, 12 years ago?
12 years ago.
12 years ago, yeah. And so it's been phenomenal to watch how that ministry has just blessed Kentucky and how it has kind of created sort of this paradigm of merging Pentecostalism with community engagement and community action, and it's a beautiful symbiotic relationship. And then to kind of put the cherry on top, Reverend Finley is now working in the mayor's office here in Louisville, Kentucky, ensuring that the faith-based community has a pipeline into the mayor's office. And so we're excited about all that God is doing with Reverend Finley. And so I'm glad to have my friends on to be able to come.
Glad to be here.
And we're talking to singles. So last week, Burnett Avenue was engaged in a conversation with married couples about how married couples have sort of navigated this season of COVID-19 and how they've pulled together or either how they've broken apart. And I said, well, singles have a divergently different experience than married couples. You know, I'm thanking God I'm not married right now because I ain't got nobody to have to pull close to. There's no negotiation in the Shull household. There's no. I ain't got to worry about who gonna go to their corner and going down to the place. I can go all over my house without any type of interference other than my children. And so I thank God for that. I bless God for that tonight. And so we prayed for those married couples last week. We leaned in the hope that they would be able to tap into Christian charity and Christian fellowship, that they are able to bond with their home together. But tonight we want to deal with singles and what being single in COVID means. I saw a story on the Today Show yesterday that reflected that singles are having a particularly difficult time during this season of combating the isolation that comes as a consequence of you can't go to happy hour no more.
No.
You can't go to happy hour. You can't creep in the midnight hour. You got to do what Shirley Caesar said and go to your own home and stay and,
And stay there.
and stay there. Go to your own home. And so, can you all speak to the isolation that might be felt by singles as a consequence of COVID-19?
So I would say personally, I'm not having an issue. I'm like you, Pastor Shull. Like I don't have an issue. Okay. I might have a little bit of an issue, but for the majority of the time, I'm very happy to be home alone. You know, producing as much as I can, to not be traveling right now. I'm really taking advantage of the time because I don't have it often, and so I'm fine with that. Now there are moments like, you know, there have been no dinners, no real interaction. You know, I think you think it's cute to talk on the phone until the phone is all you have. So it's kind of like I don't want to talk on the phone. I don't want to FaceTime. You know, I do enough Zoom calls throughout the day, and so you know, so technology would normally help relationships, right? But for me, it would probably hurt it if I had one right now, because I wouldn't want to be, you know, on Zoom calls. But I'm not going to pretend like it's not. I'm not going to go as far as to say lonely, but I do understand what it means to miss interaction, whether that's happy hour, whether that's one-on-one dinners, whether that's, you know, trips to Aruba, whatever it is that, you know, people may be used to in this hour or in the previous hour. You know, you just don't have access to it right now. And I think the most difficult part is you don't know when you're going to have access again, right? Like I remember when this was first shut down, it was like, oh, you know, I had some things planned. Let's think about that in April or May. It's May. So it's like, maybe that'll happen in September. Yeah, it's probably not going to happen in September. And I'm not saying this impacts me, but I did see, you know, I'm a researcher. And last night I saw an article, and the article said that COVID could be found in semen, if I can use that kind of.
You saw that article too?
Email me that article.
It's a real article. I saw it. I tried to ignore it. I saw it.
It's legit. So I'm like, well, first of all, now that you're single, COVID can get you quicker than anything else. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can go and try to escape your home or sneak somewhere, but we'll know 14 days later what you were doing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's
you better go to quarantine afterwards.
Right. You're like, I'll see you on day 15 if it works out, you know? So it's weird out here right now.
It's real weird.
Yeah, I think it's the same. I think I started out strong, and I said, this is going to be great. I'm going to be home. You know, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I think as it has went further and further than any of us really expected, it's caused me to gain perspective, because now there's no traveling. There's no talking about all these principles that apply to singles. Really, it's you're home by yourself all day. And I think you become keenly aware that I'm by myself.
What
so on one hand, I'm glad I don't have anybody here some parts of the day. And then there comes that other part of the day where I'm thinking, it'd be nice to have somebody here. So I think that's sort of the challenge. I don't know how much further, you know, how much that's going to take over the rest of my day. I feel like the further this goes along, the more I'm getting like, you know, I think it's time. I'm ready to get out. I'm ready to do. I'm missing the dinners, like you said. But so far, so good. But it's. I can feel it. I can feel it mounting.
Wow. So, what expectations of normal life are you telling yourself that you want to let go of? That you have to let it go of? That as a consequence of COVID-19, it'll be no more. How are you kind of shifting and pivoting to embrace those realities?
You know what's crazy, and I think I have maybe just a touch of OCD when it comes to cleanliness and germs and things of that nature. I don't know how I'm ever going to go to dinner ever again,
right?
Or get on a plane with that.
Right.
You know, those are the kind of things that you talk about shifting back to normalcy. It's going to be a challenge, you know. And speaking of semen, I heard that COVID was found on fruit. So now it's attaching to food. It's just, you know. So I'm saying, Lord, you're gonna have to help me because I'm struggling.
Yeah. I can't imagine like normal dates. Like, well, so first of all, you can barely even trust that someone will honor you enough to be honest, like with STDs out there.
Yeah.
Right. Let alone COVID. I mean, it's just, I don't know how I would being a single woman right now dating, I don't know how I trust someone to like move forward. Like a first kiss is like really important now because it could like make you sick. It could kill you. A first kiss can kill you.
I never liked first kiss anyways because you just never know what people's mouths did.
You know.
Well, I'm saying it takes a while, but it's gonna take longer. Like I need them to come out
everybody
with like some type of like.
Yeah.
Everybody don't use Colgate.
That's true.
Don't use Listerine.
But
you got to use the old Listerine.
That
the gold Listerine, the one that stings your mouth real quick.
It burns.
Yeah, I need the ones that burn. I don't need the ones that they got that fruit and stuff in it.
Yeah. No. But here's the thing: you can tell when someone's not flossing. You can tell when someone's not using Listerine. You cannot tell when somebody has COVID in their saliva. And so what I need them to do is come out with like a dating stick where I can be like, blow on this, just to see if they have COVID.
That's a great idea.
That is.
That's a $1 million idea.
Seriously, I'm like, but to think about it, I know someone who had an interaction with someone. No, let me look. I know someone who chose to go, and interact with someone in the early stages of COVID who died. It meant that much to this person, and so I'm like, I can't imagine like being on my deathbed and alone, you know, because you have to be alone when you're dying of COVID these days. Like thinking like, dang, he just wasn't that fine. You know what I mean? Like, or he don't know how to use 222 on Facebook when he's writing posts, and I'm dying over this person. Like, you know, like you got to have some different type of standards now because the risk is so high.
The question is, on that date, when the guy says, I once had COVID, then what do you do? When the person says, you know, I had it before.
So listen, it depends on what the research shows. If the research shows that, you know, you have low possibility of getting it again, then that means you're actually going to look for people who have survived COVID. So they're going to be like high on the single dating Dow Jones. You know? And if somebody hasn't had it yet, it's like, you know, you got to get it through your system first. So I know.
That's a good point because I was completely backwards. It was, if I sit down, I'm having dinner with someone and we start a conversation and say, you know, I had COVID last month. I just right then, I'm like, well, listen, God bless you. I pray you're healing. I put my mask on and I'm out of there. So it makes sense. So maybe I need to switch it up.
Yeah, I'm thinking that might be the case, you know, like that might be the safe person to date. And then here's the problem, you know, you could be asymptomatic. And so if you're one of those people, it's just scary. You're like a spreader. You could be a super spreader and nobody knows.
How this is going to impact dating though, just in this conversation, this is going to absolutely impact dating. You're going to want to know if you had it, how long ago did you have it? You know, did you get sick? Were you asymptomatic? You know, all those now, it's sort of shifting us to a different place.
But beyond that, how are you supposed to figure out who you want to date underneath their mask? Because like they come up right here, like right here.
Yeah.
I can't see nothing but your eyes.
I need to see.
Your eyes and your eyebrows. Everybody looks good like this.
But no, but you know what? Everybody don't get their eyebrows done. And so some of them eyebrows, I've been noticing that crocus, they growing they intertwining.
That's true. Yeah. I can do my own. That's why I've been surviving COVID. See, that's another thing that COVID has shown you.
They're the ones who do their own because it don't be equal on each.
No, mine is even. Like, you want to see right now? Mine look good.
Like you had.
Mine look good.
You got to bring up your bangs so we can see.
Yeah, we got to.
I want to see how.
My eyebrows look great.
Listen, and that's
see, COVID is exposing this.
You've been working, Bri.
Listen, you may need to do an online tutorial for people because
I could because this is
understand.
another thing. Think about the people who have been in these relationships, right? And they've only seen the best, most manicured version, you know?
Can you
And
imagine?
now they have to see, like, you know, you can't do your own weave, so we gotta, you know, stick with your baby hair. You know what I mean? Like, we gotta see, like, the truth.
Reverend Finley,
What's that?
I'm so happy that you have an iPad.
Let me turn
Why?
this on.
Huh?
What have you been eating out?
Because Reverend Finley has not, he still has an Android, and
No.
he still
Well,
has
you know,
and what I want him to do is, I really root for Tim Finley's, I do. He's my boy. But he still got an Android, and he does
That's
it
nice.
like it's like 2011. And
Well,
I think
I like
now
that.
the whole debate between Apple and Android is over.
I'm just gonna say that.
You think that's why you might still be single? Because when
Look.
you text somebody, you get that green bubble?
Well, I think the reason why is because, like I told my daughter with her iPhone, you know, you have all the best games, you have all the best little apps to play, all the little, you know, little cool little things. But the Android is for the adults, and maybe, you know, I just need to just downgrade and.
No, Reverend, you too major to be having that Android.
You know, because
the
last time I checked, the Android phones, especially the Samsung, the Notes, they're just a better phone than the Apple phones. Just are.
I don't agree with that, but I'm gonna tell you that I believe using the Android is gonna keep you single a lot longer. I saw a statistic that said 80% of a person's success in life is based on who they marry. Not that they marry, but who they marry. Like, somebody can catapult you this way, or they can, like, stop you and hold you back. And I am really beginning, I'm really beginning to believe that, because I also believe that some of my relationships didn't work out because of my success in life. And I think I just wasn't sometimes maybe willing to be pulled back when maybe the relationship would have required that, or they could have been their desire. And, you know, so we started to, like, pull apart. But I can totally see how you can be in a relationship with someone and you can do well, and you can not even know that you're missing out on where you could be, right? Because life is good, but you don't realize that life being great will actually tear you apart, because that's not what they want.
Listen, your point about projects, though, I think that is truer than many of us would even admit. That I think as pastors, as public leaders, we spend a lot of time identifying potential, and then in that potential trying to shape it to be what we want it to be. And that's where a lot of times
being disappointed by what it doesn't become.
Absolutely.
So wait, what's the problem with getting somebody who's together? Like, is that a type A type woman? Like, is there a problem with the?
I don't think it's a problem. I just think that sometimes, you know, speaking for myself, you're so used to moving this way, potential, projects, building, constantly building, that bleeds into your personal life. So you
so
see,
it makes you feel maybe valued or needed.
But I think it is a problem.
Is that when you have children? So I have a 19-year-old. I don't have time for the who I'm dating getting into a issue or having beef with my daughter.
Wait, did that happen?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, when you don't have emotional maturity, you don't understand that they're going to have maybe a little bit of sort of tense moments because they're seeing their father or their mother dating someone. If you can't handle that, you automatically go on to, they ain't gonna stop me. Nah.
Or they ain't gonna disrespect me.
Yeah, all of that. Yeah, I ain't got time.
Yeah.
When you got kids.
I'm with you on that. That's true. I have a niece and nephew I raised, and they are 24 and 22. So I have two grandkids. I have an 11-month-old grandchild, and I have a 3-year-old grandchild, you know. And so sometimes they do need my attention in ways that people don't always want to deal with, and I get that. But I also remember raising them, because think about it, we're 13 and 11 years apart. So, 13 and 15 years apart. And so I remember being younger and dating, and like thinking about marriage, and the person would be younger, like my age, and I'd be like, you know, you lived a like really good life, you make really good money, you know, you haven't made like, you don't deserve to have to raise a family that, you know, of children of this age. And I remember like cutting off of some of my relationships, like, nope, go find something fresh and new. Find somebody your age who does not have a, you know, back then, like a 16-year-old and a 14-year-old, 16-year-old, yeah, and a 14-year-old, and just start fresh. Like, you deserve that. This is a lot of work, and it's much more than you may, you know, be with. You love me. That doesn't mean you're ready for my life. Go live your life.
Wow.
I remember counseling with a young lady whose her mother gave her some advice that just jacked her up. But I remember her, she was dating some guy with a teenage daughter, and her mother told her, the first thing you need to do is go into that situation and establish your dominance with the kid, because she's got a mouth, she's got it this, she's got it that. And I said, that was your first mistake. You're going in trying to compete with someone you're never going to be able to compete with. So
right, that's horrible.
Yeah, I know if anybody come in here trying to compete with Zoe and Harris.
Well, you don't have to do that, because Zoe's gonna be like, the door. There's the door. Yeah, that's tough. But I don't mind. I don't. If I get married, I'm okay with having children, but it's not a must for me. So if the person has children, that is fine. You know, like, I didn't birth Breon and Briera, but I raised them. I love them, like, absolutely love them like my own. So let's do this. We can love your children just like, you know.
How did you not birth kids that were named after you?
Because my sister must have always known I was gonna raise them.
I wasn't gonna say anything, but I was like, wait, they named after you. That's what's up.
Yeah, I'm Brianna Catrice, and my niece is Briera Catrice. I don't know. I mean, my sister, we had a really close relationship, and when my sister had my nephew, she immediately got sick. That's how they found out she had kidney disease. And so when she had my niece, she knew she wasn't going to live long. So she actually didn't know that I would end up raising them with my mom. She knew she would not live long enough to, you know, see them, you know, grow up or become adults. So, but yeah, I said, you always had it in mind that I was going to raise your children. So, but I mean, I've had people challenge me like, you have to have a baby because you don't know what it's like to have your own. I'm like, yes, I do. They're like, no, because they're not your blood. Actually, they are my blood. Or no, because they didn't come from your body. And I'm like, and this is a man. And I was like, well, unless I'm wrong, your baby didn't come from your body either. Did you birth the baby?
He was losing immediately in that conversation.
Absolutely.
One principle that you want singles to take home.
I believe we should stop living our life in the meantime and just live. That's the best thing I can give. Don't live your life until you're married or until you're in a relationship or until the next person comes along. Just live. Just live. If it comes, it's great. If it doesn't,
That's the gospel according to Rihanna. Just live your life.
Just live your life. Hey. I'm just saying, like, that's going to be your best bet. If you keep waiting for something, then you don't get to really live in the moment. You're always waiting for the next thing. Just live. Life is good out there. It is good out there. If something comes along, that's great. If nothing comes along, life is still great. I'm not saying God ain't going to bring you somebody until you get to that place, because God does bring us people before we're at that place. I'm just saying you'd be better off living your life just to the fullest. That's the best I have.
Yeah, mine won't be as deep and profound, which I absolutely agree. I would just say be honest. Be honest with yourself. There's been a significant amount of time, even with me personally, where I was trying to adopt what I thought I wanted based off of what people were telling me, and trying to push people into a sort of cookie cutter type relationship, and it doesn't work. And I found freedom in just being honest. I like what I like. I want what I want, and that's what I go with. So that would be my that'd be my advice.
I like that. Honesty, authenticity.
Mm-hmm.